New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. And hello again, dear ones. Reverend Robert with you. Don't need these. Don't know why I had those on. Probably because I was listening to the radio station in preparation to be with you here this morning. So thank you for being with me. I'm so grateful you're here. It's a Tuesday and it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and that means it's time for the Growing Edge. Now, if this is your first time with us on this program, what happens here doesn't necessarily stay here. And what we do is look at the growing edge of the New Thought Media Network, sometimes my ministry, sometimes what's happening in your lives. And we look at it from a perspective of utilizing, embracing, and I believe evolving what it means to live a spiritual life. A very dear friend of mine has a term she likes to use, enlightened everything. Enlightened everything. It's a great concept. And I'm not, that's not really what I'm here to talk about today. And that's one of those pieces that kind of operates in the background, right? What would a world of enlightened everything look like? Now, in the show notes, it says that this is all about the practices and the processes. First thing I'd like to do is utilize one of those practices. So I'm feeling that call to pray. And if you're with me and in a comfortable place, I invite you to join me in that prayer, in that deep knowing that there is only one power, one presence, one infinite intelligence that's moving and breathing and having its being as all of life. Now I call that God. And in my recognition of God, I recognize God as the source, the supply, the oneness, the everything, the self-existent cause that is forever taking on form and abandoning that form in order to take on new form. The source and the supply of abundance and prosperity, of love and light, of finances and the worldly events of our day, the one creative process of which we are each a part and of which each wields the power of creation, through which each wields that power of creation. You are a divine emanation of God's life here on planet Earth. I am that same truth. Each one across this planet, a divine emanation of God's life. And I rest in that knowing that truthfully, we are all here finding our own way, bumping into each other, traveling alongside with friends and colleagues for a time or not. And then again, each on a unique, individualized journey from within the one, each absolutely vital to the revelation of this great and glorious vision of a world that works for all, each absolutely necessary for this glorious, glorious thing we call life. I am filled to overflowing with a great sense of yes, a great sense of wonder and curiosity and excitement. A grand and glorious knowing that all is well and everything's happening exactly as it must. And so I am ready for what comes next, open to what comes next, awake, aware, and so it is. Thank you. I was in a conversation recently, and the conversation came down to bedrock. Now, I have heard it say, let the vision be the rock upon which you build your truth, your life, your world, your ministry, whatever it might be. Let the truth that furry creatures don't understand when other people are doing things be just one of those things that happens in our lives that we live through and we work with. The bedrock for me, affirmative prayer, spiritual mind treatment, and I believe a very, very, I want to say fundamental, but a very aligned version of spiritual mind treatment. Visioning, the life visioning process, as originated by Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, and in many ways adapt. Well, what I do is adapted. I believe it is also. I don't like to call it adapted. Let's call it an evolution of the life visioning process. And I would explain more on that at another time, why I believe it is that, an evolution, not just an adaptation. And then listening. So it's easy to fall into the imagery of the three-legged stool, right? And in the three-legged stool, for me, those three legs are prayer, visioning, and listening. Now, listening takes different forms. Visioning actually can take different forms. Prayer takes different forms. Again, I'm real big on the affirmative spiritual mind treatment, not the begging and beseeching. I don't have to get down on bended knee. I don't have to, light an incense stick. I like to sometimes, but I don't have to. The conscious recognition and utilization of the powers, the processes, the practices that are new thought, coupled with the powerful, powerful experience of being in what I call spiritual conversation with the divine, envisioning, and then in the listening. Now, that might be through meditation, that might be through journaling, that might be through walking. For me, it is often can be on my bicycle, anywhere that we are in a place of letting go of what the monkey mind and my chatter and listening more deeply. So when I first got into all of this, Ernest Holmes and in the science of mind, one of the classes that we took, one of the books that we used was Ernest Holmes's book, Can We Talk to God? And in that, he lays out his argument. Yes, through meditation and spiritual mind treatment and practice, we can learn to communicate, to go beyond the otherness of the divine and learn to embrace and hear and be, demonstrate, live the divine, live this thing, inspired living, inspired action. So in all of this, everywhere I've gone, everywhere I have found myself, there becomes a new form of this equation of how do we talk to God? Everywhere I go, that's the question. Right? How do we communicate? How do we know what the divine wants? How do we? Well, I think herein is the answer. Because there's different ways to communicate with God. Now, remember, from a religious science perspective, from a new thought perspective, this is not some being, entity, not some holy scripture in the sky and with a long white beard and robe or anything. This is a power, a presence, and an intelligence. That's it. God is the omnis, omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, all-knowing, all-present, all wisdom, all everything. It's all God, omnis. I like to boil it down to the power, presence, and intelligence. all powerful, always present, all knowing. Spiritual mind treatment, prayer, is generally a way that we talk to God. What we tell God. Hey, this is what I want. This is what I don't believe in. This is what I desire. This is somebody who's hurt. Someone where and as we delve into the deeper realms of that, it's about where I'm healing myself, my own disbeliefs and my own doubts. And so someone approaches me for prayer for someone else, we're working on my belief that they can believe that their friend can be healed. If I can change my belief, and if I can get clear for me, that creates an energetic vibration that allows the person that has come to me to be healed of their limiting belief that their friend is in danger or might not make it, or whatever the limitation is. And by that, it opens the door. That person becomes a demonstration, a model, an example for their friend, that if they can believe in a healing, then their friend who is seeking the healing can believe they can be healed. Layer upon layer upon layer upon layer of support, as long as the belief system comes from one of the positive, comes from the side of possibility, comes from the side of yes, we can, versus no, that'll never work. Or no, I don't think so. This past weekend, New Thought Media Network and many of our leaders, we got together over 2 days. Not the entire 2 days, a couple days on Saturday, or excuse me, a couple hours on Saturday, a couple hours on Sunday. Not everybody made both sessions. Most people made just one of the 2 sessions, but we had an opportunity to come together and really listen to each other and pray and do a little bit of visioning and call for a greater sense of visioning and lay out an idea and start to develop some working teams, true working teams that are now starting to work on various aspects of this ministry and what needs to happen for us to continue to be here this time next year. Just over a year old with this ministry. This is great. We're in a strong position. We're doing really, really well. And Spirit, the divine, continues to reveal a greater and greater vision. And not just through me, but through everybody that's being a part of this. All the people that showed up this weekend brought the divine voice with them. My job this weekend was to listen more than anything, to listen for the voice of the viewer in the people that were in the room, to listen for the voice of the show host that was in the room, to listen to the voice from the producers, and to listen to the voice from the ideas of how to market and what we do to financially support this ministry, and how all the various ideas and ways that we can simultaneously share this ministry and ensure its longevity. And have a great time doing it. And include more people in doing it. There is an age-old question in ministry. Now, I don't know that there is a definitive answer to this. But we're going to ask it anyway. An age-old thought question. Would we rather have more people in the seats, more butts in the seats, or bigger contributions from the people that are there? Again, I don't know that there is a right answer to this. I don't know that there's a wrong answer to this either. And part of that is because every ministry, every form of ministry has its own life, its own intentions, its own values, its own beliefs, its own mission, its own vision. We do too. Tricky part is we're gonna do this. Well, I don't think it's tricky actually. I think this is the fun. It's challenging, but I think this is the fun. Is we get to make it up differently. We get to make things up in a way that maybe I don't even know yet. In often ways, and we can study things and learn about things and explore ideas and different things to make this ministry run. And ultimately, this ministry is nothing more than a direct and divine outpicturing of our collective beliefs about how to live a spiritual life, how to live a life that's beneficial to everyone around us, how to live a life where we're supported and financially prosperous, where we live in a world of peace, where borders are irrelevant, where we don't spend time on the tube, whether it's the television or the YouTube. We don't spend time on the tube looking around for what's going on wrong in the world or what went bad. I mean, yes, there are times when the news comes to us. There are times when you can't help but be exposed to the suffering and the images that came out of Miami, Florida this past week, and the collapse of the tower, of the Crystal Tower, or whatever it's called there. Sorry, I lost the name of the apartment complex, but that condo tower. Yeah, that news comes to us, and yes, that is the place we do our prayer work as well. Yeah, I'm a firm believer that the universe brings to me everything that's necessary for me to know and for me to do and that's necessary for me to accomplish the mission that's in front of us, that's in front of me. I believe the same thing's happening in your life. Everything necessary for the complete and total fulfillment of my mission comes into my life exactly as necessary. So that piece of news comes into my life not because I'm a structural engineer and I can do anything about it, not because I'm a city planner and I can do anything about it, not because I'm a council person somewhere in that district or a senator or from Florida or any of that. That news comes to me because that is the place where I can do my prayer work. I can heal my own sorrow and my own suffering and my own horror and move my own consciousness into a place of healing and a place of deep commitment that the changes that are necessary on our planet will be done, will be activated through this event. Not just thoughts and prayers. Sorry that happened to you. Glad it didn't happen to me. No. The prayer is that I am healed, that I have become aware that this is that this is possible in our world, and that there needs to be a greater sense of commitment on the part of civil engineers and city planners, on the part of structural and building owners, to do what is right. I move myself into that belief, and I trust that vibration vibrates out into the world. And I trust that there is a city planner or a civil engineer or a structural engineer or someone in ownership of a building like that that's attending a New Thought community, or hears these words and says, yes, I'm going to do more. Yes, I'm going to do better. Or doesn't even know about us and just feels that vibration in the air and recognizes that that was a calling card for other building owners to do better inspections, to look at where problems haven't been addressed in the buildings they may own across this country, across the planet. There's always an opportunity for God to become more of itself. So more is not a quantity. More is not a quantity. I want you to hear that. When I speak to more love in my life, it's not that I need someone else to show up and pour adoration into my life or to profess that they love me. It's not that I need another gift. It's not that I, you know, well, you're welcome to send a bag or two of Swedish fish if you like, but it's not any of that stuff, right? When I speak to more, what I'm speaking to for me is the movement of reality evolving. Whose reality? My reality. I can't change your reality. That's not my job. There's no one out there that's capable of changing your reality other than you. So I can't do anything more than change my own reality. So when I pray for more love in my life, what I'm looking for is the movement, is moving my current reality and evolving that, moving my current reality along the journey of evolution, along the journey of enlightenment. I would call it movement along the journey of enlightenment, but Moji just doesn't speak the same as more. Give me more love, give me more connections. Give me the movement of my own reality evolving in the realm of connection, in the realm of relationship, in the realm of finance. Give me more abundance. Give me the movement of my own reality evolving into a consciousness of greater, whatever, more expansive, whatever, more open, whatever, more alive to whatever it may be. That is the growing edge. That is where wow becomes alive. I had an experience this weekend. I did a talk on Sunday for a community in the Midwest, and great group of people. Not a huge community. They're not very out there on Facebook or YouTube or vocal about it all. And they're a powerful community of people that are embracing their own growing edge. And one of the things they do is, following the speaker's presentation, they're very, very embracing of involvement and discussion. And then at a certain point as a speaker, you just kind of say goodbye and off you go. But what happens is the community stays together in the Zoom room. And rather than fellowship, which it is a form of fellowship, they're not just sitting around chatting about the weather and how good or bad the coffee is. They're talking about the discussion in the from the talk. Well, I didn't know this, but it turns out the week prior, the discussion got a little us and them. Got just a little heated, not violent, but there were some powerful perspectives in the room that had not been reconciled for some people. I didn't know this. I didn't talk about this. I didn't say that. But what I spoke to created a healing. And what I learned yesterday, what I learned was, after the fact, a greater healing happened for the community because they were able to come together and discuss the week prior event in light of what I had shared. Didn't know anything about it. Didn't speak directly to it. But what I did was trust, as I always do in a Sunday talk. I trusted that what wanted to be revealed through me would be the best, would serve in the best way for those that were in front of me. Comes from a deep practice. Spiritual mind treatment, prayer, talking to God, telling God what I want, visioning, discussing, having the conversation back and forth. I ask a question, I hear an answer. I ask a question, I hear an answer. If I have to ask a clarifying question, I do, and I hear an answer. And then listening. not asking questions, not directing the conversation, not questioning what comes through, just being in the place of pure and open listening. Happens through meditation, happens through journaling, happens through movement, somatic integration of dance, or walk in a labyrinth, or just a walk in the park. I fully believe you put those three together and you can't help but live an inspired life. You put those three things together and you cannot help but live an inspired life. And live and take inspired action to create the life you truly desire. To be a part of this world that works for all. You don't have to go out and do anything today, folks. You don't have to sign up for anything. I invite you to continue to join this network and in what we're doing in whatever way feels called and right for you, or not. But what I trust is there is a growing edge with you, for you, that is your growing edge. Here on Tuesdays, I explore my growing edge. I explore the growing edge of this ministry with you. And I trust that it serves the growing edge within you as well. Until next week, be sure to keep coming back. Keep going out into the world. And the new thing, it's not so new to me, but it's new to me starting to share this. Our challenge for the week is to go out into the world and love and be loved. Until next week, peace and blessings.